What's going on, guys? For those who don't know me, my name is Drew, and this is my 2002 Acura RSX, and this is my 2003 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
I pick that bitch no whoa. Sweat so hot like whoa. Doubling down to her toes. Like fucking with most of these hoes. And I'm ringing up, bitch, don't go. She chip off that bitch like a pole. The Chinese not talking about pole. I'm just wet like a hoe.
This is my first time doing this kind of thing. I've done a lot on this car in the past year. Unfortunately, it did get in an accident about a year ago. So it is kind of going through the process of getting fixed and everything like that. Long process. It's been much longer than I'm willing to admit, so I'm not going to do that. I had a lot of people tell me that I should kind of document this kind of thing, just because I've done so much to the car at this point and I'm so deep in it. And I also know how small social media base the 3D Eclipse has. Obviously, there's a ton of RSX channels out there and stuff like that. For the Eclipse, it's like you don't see anything out there. Not to mention the creativity with the builds and stuff. And as I was running through, the process of doing everything on this car, I always would look up a tutorial and I could never find it. This would be a good time to kind of introduce people who are new to the car and stuff like that into the kind of things that they can expect to see. Now, if you haven't noticed already, this is a stance channel. Both of my cars are stance cars. I plan to race this RSX in the future. Maybe sometime when this car is out, I'll race it. Anyway, so I think as of this point, the main thing on what I want on this channel is progress on this car. Obviously, I'm going to do stuff over there, but that car is working and it's my daily. So I don't really have a reason to post much content about it, especially since I'm not working on it. So I am planning on getting a 1500 or Ram in the future. So maybe look forward to some content like that. Doing my own kind of project with that. So just to give you guys an idea of what I have going on right now, I'm working on lowering the car. Just finished up the subframe. There is some more stuff that I have to do to it, but I'm hoping to avoid that until a later date when I end up taking the car lower. I am planning on doing -15 camber all around on this. I already have -7 in the front, just a coil slot, and then I have -5 in the back from natural suspension geometry. That's gonna get done eventually. So the story with this car, I got rear-ended by one of my old friends. Essentially, I got hit in the back, and I stopped at a red light pretty close to a tow truck bed. And because the car was so low, as opposed to it hitting like the crash bar, which should be, in these mounting holes here, it actually hit the top of the rat support right on this. And because of that, it glanced all the way up the hood, destroyed the hood, destroyed the top of the core support, and it also crumpled all of this all the way back to the frame rails. I actually got really, really lucky that the frame rails were perfectly squared at the end of it. But this was my cutting point right here. On this panel, this is where it got cut. Everything from there back perfectly straight, perfectly squared on both sides. The frame rails were perfectly fine, and the crash bar was perfectly fine too, which is a little bit annoying because it didn't serve its purpose. So as it stands right now, the rear isn't done. It's still completely smashed in. So this still has a lot of work to go. I have the new panel right there. I think it was September 2nd of 2023 that this car got hit. So it's been around a year and a half at this point, which is insane to think about. The first 4 or 5 months, I had no knowledge of auto body. I didn't really know cars that well. This was my second car. I had an LS400 before this, and it never really went anywhere. And then I got this car. I only had the car out on the road for about a month before the accident. I didn't know as much as I wanted to. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. So everything that I did on this car to this point was self-taught while the car was down. The first 6 months of the car being down, I spent trying to find a shop to do the body work. The only thing I wanted to do was the rad support and the rear end. The body panels I didn't care about. I would just get new ones. The problem was I didn't go through insurance because I didn't want the car to get totaled. It's a 3G Eclipse. Any of you on that car, any accident, it's gonna get salvaged. It's worth like $3,000, right? They're not, they don't have the value for an insurance company to want to revive it, unless it's like a small dent. I kind of skipped on the insurance with my friend, and I was like, it's all right, just pay me, which is a mistake because I never got paid, and they kind of moved on and stopped talking to me. The issue was I spent 6 months trying to find a shop to do the frame repair without going through insurance, because I didn't go through insurance. Never found one. I eventually went to a couple of shops that did go through insurance, and I never got a response. 6 months of that. And because of that, I just put the car away for 4 or 5 months. Didn't touch it, didn't look at it. Heartbroken, that kind of stuff. Eventually, last year, I started to do some work on it myself. And I actually ended up taking this old panel off. If you see with all the welds here and stuff, like the holes in it, essentially there's 2 ways to take off an old body panel. You can either use a belt sander to sand off the metal on the top sheet to take it off of the spot weld, or you can drill out the spot weld itself. So me being an idiot, I decided to drill them out because I saw a couple videos. I did some research because I was tired of waiting. I was like, I'm gonna do this myself. Drilled it off of that car, bought a donor car, which is actually sitting right over here. This is my donor car here. It's a 2002 GS Spider. Bought that for $1,500. It has 52,000 miles on it, so I ended up selling the engine for like $800, which is crazy. Took this rad support right here, drilled it off of that car, put it on this. Now, originally, I was going to get somebody to do the welds, but that person also ghosted me, even though he was my friend, which sucks. So after a month of waiting, I decided to start doing it myself. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll weld it on. But after about like a month of contemplating it, I just decided to send it. And at this point, we're in like October of last year. So around 6 months ago now. I said, screw it. Threw the riv nuts on, bolted it on, test fitted all the body panels before I did the riv nuts, just to make sure everything was lined up properly. Perfect fitment everywhere. And so I marked, I squared it out, everything was good. And then I riv nutted everything on. So right now, putting my BCs on, my BC coilovers. I had Godspeeds on this car when it got hit. They just weren't low enough. Anyone who's on coilovers on this car knows that not only the fender gap, but the frame rails sit extremely low on the car, but the fenders sit extremely high on the car. So you got about 1 inch of room from the bottom of the frame rail right here. The fender sits, the bottom of the fender is like right there. So it is really hard to get, if you're going really, really low, it's very hard to get the fitment that you want. Now, I know not a lot of people stance these cars. In fact, maybe 2 or 3 people I know have stanced these cars. Maybe 5 around the world. But anyone who has done it knows how annoying the frame rails are and the fenders. Eventually, I will probably cut these fenders or those frame rails out and do something with them. For now, I have no plans of doing that. I just want to get the car back out on the road. So my goal for the next week and a half, because I am moving into a house soon. So this progress is kind of gonna get flaunted throughout the next couple weeks. What I want to do as soon as possible. I just did my coil slot, so I'm sitting at -7 in the front now. Get some of the parts back in the engine bay and stuff like that. Once that's done, I am waiting on motor mounts from my buddy. He's doing my motor mount bushings. So I should have those back in a couple of days. Then I can throw those in. And then I can mock up the motor in the engine bay to do my my engine raise. The oil pans on this car sit really, really low. So I am going to raise the motor. It's going to be tricky because you can't just put washers. But I'll see what I can do. But for right now, all I'm going to do, I'm putting in the BC coilover in the back, the driver's side back right now. I just finished with the passenger rear. It's sitting right now. No, it's not. I lied. It's not sitting like that. Oh, that sounded good. Yes, it is sitting like that. I lied. Don't worry. I'm gonna throw wood under there and then drop it, and then I'll do the driver's side. I'm not doing anything in this video. I just wanted to kind of introduce everything. Because, you know, I'm not gonna just make my first video working on the cars. So, next coming 2 weeks, engine mounts are gonna go back in. Engine bay is gonna get reassembled. Everything's going back on. Headlights, body panels, all that stuff. So this is gonna be done within 2 weeks. Hopefully, everything will be back in. Now I do have to do my wire tuck, which I have to wait for the engine to go in for, and I also need to make 3 brackets. I need to make a bracket for the coolant reservoir, which anyone who has tucked stuff on these bays knows that you throw the coolant reservoir under the passenger headlight. Not running wipers. Flame me if you want, but I like the way it looks. Which means I don't need a windshield wiper fluid reservoir. So that's just gonna go away. I did my ABS delete, my cruise control delete. Then I have to do my my intake manifold shave. So essentially on these 6G72 manifolds, there is like 10 relays just bolted to the left side of it, which is really just an eyesore. So I'm gonna throw that on the back of the manifold, and make a bracket, throw it on the back of the manifold, tuck that away, never see it again. But that's really it. Engine bay has to go back in, and then the car's ready to get pulled out, and then I can finish the rear, which should take like a day. Realistically, if I pull it out properly, it'll take a day or 2 days. And then once the rear's pulled out, the car's done. That's it. Car's done. Car's outside. It's back up. I want to get it done within the next 2 months. That is my goal. But I do want to get this out because I want to go to GAT. I want to go to Riverside. I want to go to Miami. I want to go to AC next month. And I want to go to Panda Fest because that's coming up like next month. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but we'll see. So that's it. That's it. Next video, you're probably going to see me doing a couple things. Getting the motor back in, filling the engine bay, stuff like that. That'll be the next 2 weeks, probably. And then it'll come out. So that's what you can expect from me, hopefully soon. That's it for me, though. I don't really have anything else planned. If you actually want to see this kind of thing, just let me know. And I'll keep doing this. If nobody wants to see them, I'll stop. I'm looking forward to this build a lot. I've already learned a lot out of this car, so I plan to learn a lot more. And I want to teach everybody things about this car that nobody else is willing to. Anyone who's a 3G knows that the 3G forums are brutal. Those old guys are, they're awful. So, thank you guys. We'll see you later.
I pick that bitch in the whoa. Sweat so hot like whoa. Doubling down to her toes. Like fucking with most of these hoes. And I'm